All right. Good evening, students. Good evening, all of you. I hope you are able to hear me. Good evening, Ganesh, Naren, Monisha, KV Chetan. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Advait, Vishal, Shreya, Kotgi, Viresh. Good evening. So you can judge which bracket you lie in. Good evening, Vismay. Very good evening. All right. It's luck, Pratham. It's luck. Pratham, RCB is riding on luck. That's what I would say. They are having a very good luck this season. All right. Good evening, Keetan. Correct, Pratesh. Tomorrow, Vishal. Tomorrow. Yes, Vishal. Tomorrow we will. So, good evening, everyone. RCB is riding on luck, whether you believe it or not. It's a bubble of luck in which RCB is floating. So, RCB is floating in a bubble of luck. I am so much afraid for all of you that this bubble might burst someday. Right? So, that's what I would say. Yes, that's pretty much true. 2020 is about 2020 is about surprises, about miracles, about disaster. So we must not be surprised if RCB wins also. So in this disastrous situation, the disastrous things can happen. So we never know. Correct. I don't want to say anything to CSK fans. CSK fans, I have sympathy right now. They are lying at the bottom of the table. So I just have a sympathy for them. Virat Kohli is definitely a good batsman. Who said Virat Kohli is not a good batsman? He is definitely a good batsman. Yes, yes. CSK is at the bottom. No, of course not. I am just saying because of RCB, because like except 2-3 players, RCB don't have anything in their bucket. That's the problem. I do like cricket, kind of. Yes, that's true, Athar. Yes. CSK is at the bottom. No, I didn't. I never thought MI would win easily. I thought it will be a tough call. Who do you think is lucky, DC or RCB? I would definitely say DC has a much better team than RCB. So RCB is riding on luck. This is what I can say. RCB is riding on luck. This is what I can say. That is, IPL mein Virat Kohli never have a good season except 1 or 2 seasons. IPL is not meant for Virat Kohli. You can say that. RR maybe or maybe not they're lucky, but DCs definitely have a good team. But this year, one thing which I can definitely tell you is there is no team which is weak this year. Every team is balanced. So the team who play well on that day will win, provided they have some luck. That's what you can say. Yes, you can. That's a very good statement, Keaton. Chalo, let's move ahead to our today's class. What is today's game? What is today's game? What do we have in today's game? I don't know what is today's game. KKR versus RR. Kishan is a good batsman. Kishan I am observing for past 4 or 5 years. Since under 19. Correct, Pranav. RR versus KKR, I would back whom? I would back RR, of course. I would back RR. But you never know that Russell factor. If that Russell storm comes, then you can't help. So I would still back RR. Chalo, let's move ahead. So what we were discussing last class, I think we were discussing about Ethers. Devdutt Padikkal is a very good batsman. I have already told he has a very good future. You will soon see him in Indian team in some or other format. That's what I can tell about him. Sanju Samson will not be able to make it to the Indian team. That's what my assumption is. But Ishan Kishan definitely might make up if he performs well throughout the season. Chalo, let's move ahead. So, we were discussing about, what we were discussing about? Ethers, definitely. We were discussing about ethers and we have discussed its preparation and physical properties. Was there any homework yesterday? Was there any homework yesterday? What was the homework I had given you? Yeah. So, I'll give you the options. You need to tell me what is the answer. That's a good question, Athar. So, what's the answer? You can tell me what's the answer? Oh, sorry. Don't answer this poll. Don't answer this poll. Don't answer this poll. Just a minute, guys. There is some problem here. Yes, so you have the poll on your screens. You can start voting it. You can start voting for the poll. It's available on your screens now. Right. So you'll get another 30 seconds for this. So please vote fast. You will get another 30 seconds for this. So please vote fast. All right. So we are going to end this on a count of 3. Is there another benzene in B? Yes. There is another benzene in B. So let's end it now. So let's see the answer. What do we got, right? If I take this carefully, right? Yes. So what does it say? It says which of the following compounds on reaction with tertiary butoxide? First of all, you have to react all of them with tertiary butoxide, right? Formed by addition on reaction upon treatment with tertiary butoxide, followed by addition of bromine water, fails to decolorize bromine water. So you'll treat them with tertiary butoxide, you'll get some product. That product should not give bromine water. So which of their product, which of these compounds on reaction with tertiary butoxide will give a product which will not give bromine water test? That means which does not contain unsaturation. So if you see carefully, if you do the tertiary butoxide is a base, so it will cause elimination. So if you take tertiary butoxide and do the elimination, from this carbon halogen will go, from this carbon hydrogen will go, H plus is lost. So there will be a double bond here, right? So this will give you unsaturated compound. This will give you unsaturated compound. Since there is a double bond, it will react with bromine water to give you a positive bromine water test. Bromine water test is given by phenols and alkene alkynes, unsaturated compounds. Since there is unsaturation here, it will give bromine water test. Similarly, if you treat it with tertiary butoxide, it will remove Br from here, hydrogen from the next carbon. Again, you will get double bond. So it can also give bromine water test because there is a unsaturation. If you treat this with tertiary butoxide, bromine goes from here, H goes from here. Again, there will be a double bond. So this is also having unsaturation. So it can also give bromine water test, unsaturated compound. If you treat Br here, there is no next carbon here to remove H plus. That means you cannot get alkene formed here. Elimination is not possible. If elimination is not possible, then tertiary butoxide will act as nucleophile. Since elimination is not possible, tertiary butoxide will act as a nucleophile and do substitution, and your product obtained in that case is tertiary butyl. Since there is no unsaturation in this compound, therefore no bromine water test. No bromine water test. Yes. Is that clear? So your correct answer is A. So your correct answer is A. Right. See guys, a lot of information you are getting on the reduction of these flavors. Don't believe any of them. None of them are from the reliable sources. We have already verified. So from the PU board, there is no notification yet. So just hold on. Do not follow any news now. Right? Final verdict will come. You'll get to know. Don't worry about it. We will only tell you first. Right. So the correct answer is A. In D, do you show polysubstitution? No. Why will you show polysubstitution in D? Why will you show polysubstitution in D? You'll get elimination, na? Alkene. I didn't get your point only, Pritesh. If you treat it with bromine water, you'll get an alkene. Then treat it with bromine water. What will be reaction? You'll get Br here, anti-position pe OH. We have done this addition reaction in alkenes, na? Why not C? Beta C, so definitely it can be, na? Br will be gone from this carbon. From next carbon, H plus will be lost. So you will get this product, O. Alkene you will get. So if you are getting alkene, alkene can give bromine water test, unsaturation test. It will turn bromine water colorless. The product obtained will be O, double bond breaks. One carbon will get Br, other carbon will get OH. Right? Where it is polysubstitution, Pritesh? Where it is written polysubstitution? Why are you talking about polysubstitution? Where is it written polysubstitution? Why are you doing polysubstitution? Is it phenol? In case of phenol, you do 2,4,6. How do you know it is polysubstitution? And how do you know it is substitution only? First of all, how do you know it is substitution? Why not elimination? What are you talking, Pritesh? Is that clear, Pritesh? I didn't, 1% also I didn't get your doubt. Why are you even talking about polysubstitution? Polysubstitution is in the case of phenol. Bromine water gives 2,4,6. Right? All right. So let's move ahead with today's topic. Right. So we have to start chemical properties. Let's start with the recall test. So here you see two syntheses. Here you see two syntheses. You have to identify which of the following methods is better. Which provides better synthesis among these two? Which provides better synthesis among these two? So let me give you the options. Which is a better method for synthesis? Yes. Yes, Ganesh, you are right. Yes, so you will get another 30 seconds to vote this. So please vote fast. Right? All right. So we are going to end this in next 20 seconds. You must be aware of this. It's a question on Williamson synthesis. I told you something about Williamson synthesis yesterday. Williamson synthesis. Right? All right. So let's end it on account of 3, 2, 1. Let's end it now. Yes. So the correct answer here is B. Right? B is the correct answer. Why? Because we know if you take secondary halide here and here you are taking primary halide. So as we know, Williamson synthesis is a substitution reaction, and as you make your halide from primary to secondary to tertiary, the probability of elimination increases. So here elimination will be more, substitution will be less. Here elimination will be less, substitution will be more because your halide is primary. So substitution here will be easier than substitution here. Because your halide is secondary, in secondary probability of elimination is more than substitution. And Williamson synthesis is a substitution reaction where you substitute halogen with oxygen. Right? Is it clear, everyone? Yes, everyone. Is that clear? Any doubt in this? Please ask. If there is any doubt in this, is it difficult PR to attack a resonance stabilized? There is no resonance stabilized oxygen here. Pranav, there is no resonance stabilized oxygen here. Check again carefully. There is no resonance stabilized oxygen here, Pranav. Right. So let's move ahead. I think we have done enough in this. Yeah. Anybody having any doubt here? Please ask. We'll move ahead with the chemical properties. So there is only, but reagent can act as a base. Of course, it can act as a base where it is bulky. Where it is bulky, it is not bulky. Secondary is not considered as much bulky base. Tertiary is considered as bulky, right? So chemical properties. So here we have to generally discuss one reaction only in detail. What is that reaction? Ethers reaction with HX. Ethers reaction with HX. Halogen acids. Mainly we use HI. You can use HBr also, it's fine, right? So now see, this reaction can go 90% of the times this reaction goes by SN2 mechanism, right? The reaction which I am talking about, this reaction goes by SN2 mechanism. Let us see a general example. First, let me give you a reaction. If you take RO, R dash, ether, and you treat it with HI, then the H, the iodine is a bulky nucleophile, so it will attack that alkyl group which is smaller, less steric hindered, SN2 mechanism. So I prefers to attack less hindered alkyl group, so you will get ROH plus R dash I. Assume R dash is a smaller alkyl group than R. So iodide will be formed by smaller alkyl group, alcohol will be formed by larger alkyl group, right? Yes. Now, this is your reaction. Now coming back to its mechanism, how does this reaction proceed? If you talk about its mechanism, right, how does this reaction proceed? If you take ROR dash, you have treated it with HI, that means you have treated it with H plus, acidic medium, there is lone pair of electrons, so lone pair will attack H plus, so what you will get is ROR dash H plus charge. OH will get protonated, oxygen will get protonated, oxygen has donated lone pair to H plus. Now next step may I minus will come as a nucleophile. Now I minus is a large nucleophile. It's a large nucleophile. Since it's a large nucleophile, it prefers smaller alkyl group. It prefers smaller alkyl group. Let us see how. So if you take this, let us assume R dash is smaller alkyl group than R. So this bond will break like this to neutralize the positive charge of oxygen, and I minus will attack R plus. So if this bond breaks like this, oxygen gets negative charge, positive, negative, neutral. Carbon gets a positive charge. So O minus will attack R dash. So what you'll get eventually will be, you'll get ROH plus R dash I. This is what you will get. Is that clear, everyone? Any doubt in this mechanism, please ask. I'll take some examples also, then some limitations also. Any doubt in this mechanism? Anyone, please ask. Last step is easy. I minus is a bulky nucleophile, so it will attack any of these two alkyl group. Which alkyl group? Which is smaller alkyl group, less hindered. Why smaller? Because I minus is a big nucleophile. Iodine has a larger size. Down the group size increases. Fluorine, fluorine, bromine, iodine. So iodine has large size. Due to its large size, it will attack that carbon which has less hindrance. So we are assuming alkyl group R dash is smaller than R. So therefore this bond will break like this. Oxygen gets negative, negative, positive, neutral. R dash will get a positive charge. So I minus will attack R dash. Why it is attacking R dash? Because R dash is smaller. And I minus is a large alkyl group. It prefers smaller alkyl group, which has less hindrance. So therefore I minus will attack R dash plus, form a bond R dash I. And oxygen gets a negative charge, negative, positive, neutral. So you'll get alcohol. Is that clear? With HF it will show SN1? Not really. It does not show SN1 like that. I'll tell you when it shows SN1. Is that clear, Kishore? Yes, Kishore. Is that clear? Anyone having any doubt in this, please ask quickly. I'll move ahead with the examples. Right. So let me take the examples now. If I talk about examples, very easy. Let me take easiest ether, methyl ethyl ether, CH2CH3. Now, if you treat it with HI, it's not necessary to treat it with HI. You can treat it with HBr also. The reaction is for HX. I have taken HI as example. So, if you take HI, so iodine will prefer that alkyl group which is smaller. So, methyl ethyl means smaller one is methyl. So, iodine will attack methyl. Iodine will attack methyl. So, you'll get CH3I plus you'll get CH3CH2OH, ethanol, right? Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone? This is your basic reaction. We'll see the exceptions and limitations of this. So if I take this, tell me the product for this. If I take this, if you treat it with HBr, what product you will get? If you treat it with HBr, what product you'll get? And you can read this reaction from textbook also. Textbook has given very good reaction for this. You can read it from textbook also. Textbook has given very good reactions of this. Yes. So yes, bromine will prefer to attack smaller alkyl group. This has 3 carbon alkyl group. This has 6 carbon alkyl group. So bromine will prefer to attack the smaller alkyl group. So you'll get CH3, CH2, CH2Br, and you'll get cyclohexanol. Cyclohexanol. Correct? Yes. Right. If I give you something like this, so basically, I'll come to this later, or let me take you this. Yeah, I'll come to this later. Now, let us take some limitations of this. Of course, there will be some limitations. Always, it will not give you the same product, right? There is going to be some limitations. Let us see those. Yes. You can say limitation, or you can also say special cases, whatever you want, you can say. Whatever comes to your mind, you say. Right? So if you take this, there is one important thing you have to keep in mind. I have told you here that reaction can go by SN2 mechanism or SN1 also. If both alkyl group is same, Chetan, one more important thing which I have forgot to tell you. Very good, Chetan, very good. Right. If you take CH3, CH2O, CH2CH3 and treat it with HI, what product you will get? What product you will get? What product you will get? Yes. What are you going to get? Yes, we can attack it with anyone. So basically you can say iodine can go to any of the ethyl group, both the alkyl groups are same. So one of the iodine will go to alkyl groups and you'll get CH3CH2I, and the other one you'll get CH3CH2OH. Right? You'll get this. Now, if you take this, this is fine. But if I write it like this, CH3, CH2O, yeah, CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. And if I treat it with HI in excess, then what will be your product? If I treat it with HI in excess, then what will be your product? That's a good question now. What would be your product if you treat it with HI now? Yes. Very good, Ankita. Yes, very good. So in this case, see, you'll get the same thing. Nothing changes basically. If you take it, you'll get the same thing. One, you'll get CH3, CH2I. Second molecule will be CH3, CH2OH. Now, since you are treating it with excess of HI, this will also react with HI. Alcohol will again react with HI, and water will be eliminated, and you'll get CH3, CH2I, iodoethane. So you'll get two molecules of iodoethane. The alcohol formed will also give you two molecules of iodoethane. Yes. Is that clear, everyone? Yes. Is that clear, everyone? So you have to be careful about the excess reaction. Yes. Any doubt in this? Anyone? Please ask quickly. Very good. I don't think so there is any doubt. Let us move ahead then. So if you take the special cases of this, or you can say limitation of this, where mechanism can go by SN1 mechanism, or let me not write SN1 directly, I'll take 2-3 cases. First case is, in this reaction, if you take tertiary alkyl ether, if you take a tertiary alkyl ether, then what will you get? If you go by old logic, this is smaller alkyl group, so iodine should attach there. So you should get CH3I plus CH3C, CH3. Larger alkyl group will give you alcohol. Correct? You should get here. But here, this will be a wrong reaction, because the reaction will not go by SN2 here. The reaction would go by, so SN2 is wrong here. This reaction will prefer SN1 mechanism. Why it will prefer SN1 mechanism? Because tertiary carbocation would be stable. So how this reaction will proceed in that case is same. You protonate it with HI, H plus will get protonated, right? And you will get CH3, 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 OH plus. Now in the next step, this bond will break like this, and you will get a tertiary carbocation which is stable. You will get a tertiary carbocation which is stable. Now this carbocation will react with I minus to give you a iodide. So you can see here, since the carbocation is stable, therefore we are getting a iodide of larger alkyl group, because your carbocation is stable. Is that clear, everyone? Yes. Any doubt, anyone in this case? Please ask. If there is any doubt anyone is having in this case, please ask quickly. Do not ask later when I move to the next slide. Right. So no doubts, right? So let us take our next thing, that is the second reaction. So if I take, what about steric hindrance? Mechanism is not SN2, Prashant. Mechanism is SN1. You don't check steric hindrance in SN1. Okay? We will not consider steric hindrance because mechanism is going to go by SN1. Okay? Now second case, if you take something like this, benzyl alkyl ether, CH2O CH3. If you take benzyl alkyl ether and treat it with HI, again iodine should go with methyl smaller alkyl group, but it will really reverse. You'll get iodine will go to the larger alkyl group. You'll get CH2I plus CH3OH. Why again? Why you're getting different product? Because again, when you break this bond like this, the carbocation here is stabilized by resonance. Since your carbocation is benzyl carbocation stabilized by resonance, mechanism will prefer SN1 mechanism here also. So if you add it, H plus will first protonate and you'll get CH2O CH3 protonated plus charge. Then in the next step, this methanol will be eliminated and you'll get a benzyl carbocation CH2 plus. Now I minus will attack this and you'll get benzyl iodide. Again, remember the case of excess. In excess, you'll get both alkyl iodide. Yes. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, everyone. Is that clear? Any doubt whatsoever on this? Please ask quickly. Case 2. Anyone having any doubt in this? Please ask. Yes. All my silent dolls and teddies. If you have any doubt on this, please quickly respond. Alright, so I understand nowadays we talk in silence. So I haven't started understanding your silence. So that means there is no doubt. Third step. Now you are asking, Viresh, when I moved, you are asking now. So this is your first step, second step, third step. What is in there in the third step, man? Carbocation is there. I minus will attack it and you'll get CH2I bond. Positive negative will form a bond with each other. So carbon will form a bond with iodine. What is the doubt in that, Viresh? No, Adesh, I don't think so. Yes, Viresh, this step is clear, right? I minus will combine with carbon plus to form a bond here. Viresh, right. So the next case is when you take phenyl ethers. If you take benzene, O, CH3. Now in this case, can you tell me what product you expect? Can you tell me what product you expect? Exactly. Now here, again, when you protonate oxygen, you will get O, CH3, H. Now see, this bond will break like this. Why it break like this? Because when you break it like this, you will get a species which will be stabilized by resonance. Right? But if you break it like this, you will get a positive charge on benzene, phenyl carbocation, which will not be stable. Correct? So therefore, the bond will break like this and your product obtained here will be always, phenyl ether will always give you phenol, benzene OH and CH3I. So always phenyl ether will give you phenol. Always phenyl ether will give you a phenol. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, everyone. Is that clear? Yes. Is that clear, everyone? Right. So this is all about this reaction. Why it is under exception? Because you should remember it. Phenyl ether always give phenol. Why this is under exception is because if you take something like this, O, C7H15. If you treat it with HI, what will be your product? If you treat it with HI, what will be your product? Yes, if you treat it with HI, what will be your product? Yes, again bond will break like this only. You will always get phenol irrespective of whether your alkyl group is smaller than 6-carbon phenyl or it is larger than 6-carbon phenyl. You will always get phenol as the product because it is resonance stabilized. So you will get C7H5I. Is that clear? You will always get phenol as the product. Any doubt whatsoever on this? Yes, I hope I have cleared all the 3 special cases. So let's move to the next reaction of ethers. What if we take benzene as alkyl group? Benzene as alkyl group is known as phenyl only. Benzene as alkyl group is known as phenyl only. Right, let's move ahead to the second reaction. Second reaction is, now this is the only reaction you have to study in this chapter, right? So the second reaction, which is slightly important, maybe randomly they ask, is oxidation of ether. So if you oxidize ether with H2O2 or aerial oxidation, right, or air, then what will happen? This will get oxidized. How it will get oxidized? You will get two products. Either you will get peroxide, right? Either you will get this, or you will get ROOH, hydroperoxide. So either you will get peroxide or you will get hydroperoxide. Now, special about these two reactions is they are explosive chemicals. They are explosive chemicals, right? So remember this much only, that's sufficient and more than enough for ethers. Third set of reaction is for aromatic ethers, which is major product. We can't say generally the major product is hydroperoxide. Okay? So if you take the third reaction, it is for aromatic ethers. So remember two compounds in aromatic ethers. So benzene methyl ether is also known as anisole, OCH3. It is also known as anisole. And on benzene, if you have O, C2H5, then it is known as phenatol. Remember these two compounds in aromatic ethers, right? So now, if you talk about aromatic ethers, the reaction which they show is electrophilic substitution reaction. Electrophilic substitution reaction. So first thing we should understand here is anisole is ortho-para directing towards electrophile. Anisole is ortho-para directing towards electrophile. Right? So if you take anisole and treat it with any electrophile, it will go to ortho and para position. It will go to either ortho or it will go to para. Correct? This is the last slide. Monisha. Yes, this is the last slide, Monisha. This is the current slide. So if you take this and do the reactions of ESR, I'll directly write the reactions. Same reactions. Halogenation, chlorine in the presence of AlCl3, anhydrous. So halogenation we will get orthochloro products, orthochloroanisole, and parachloroanisole. This is what you'll get. And if you treat it with nitration, nitric acid, concentrated HNO3, you'll get OCH3, orthonitrophenol, and paranitrophenol. Sorry, not phenol, orthonitroanisole, paranitroanisole. I have not written anhydrous only pronoun, I have just written anhyd. Now, if you treat it with sulfonation, concentrated H2SO4, you'll get again orthopara product, SO3H, para baby you'll get SO3H. Then Friedel-Crafts acylation or alkylation. Acylation is RCOCl in anhydrous AlCl3. You will get OCH3, COR at ortho and COR at para. ठीक है? So these are all your electrophilic substitution reaction in these are all your examples of electrophilic substitution reaction in this one map. Okay? In one map we have considered everything, right? It is concentrated nitric acid, Pritesh. So this finishes your chemical reactions of ether. I will discuss one last reactions of ether, that is epoxides. Epoxides, they are very important for JEE at least. Epoxides. What are epoxides? They are also known as oxiranes, or you can say they are cyclic ethers. Cyclic ethers. So what are epoxides? If you take cyclic ethers are known as epoxides. For example, ROR. Cyclic oxygen containing compounds are called epoxides. Okay? Cyclic ethers are also called epoxides. Now, if you talk about preparation, you have already studied it a lot. Can you tell me where you have seen this epoxide preparation? If you treat alkenes with MCPBA, remember, or H2O2, any peroxide, you'll get epoxide. Right? This was one of the preparation. Then you have also studied, if you take alkene, treat it with bromine water. So addition of bromine gives you dibromo. Since water is there, you'll get OH and Br. And if you treat it with NaOH base, so NaOH will take H plus from OH. So NaOH will take H plus from OH minus will take H plus from OH. So you'll get O minus. It will undergo nucleophilic substitution. Br leaves, nucleophile comes. So this is also one of the way of forming the epoxides. So this oxygen will form a bond with this carbon. So carbon, oxygen, carbon. You'll get epoxide. This is another way of preparing epoxides. Okay? Is that clear, everyone? These are the two major methods of preparation of epoxides. Right? Now, if you talk about reactions of epoxides, the major reaction of epoxide is ring opening by nucleophile. Ring opening by nucleophile. So understand this carefully. The concepts are very important here, right? Note it carefully, please. We are going to move ahead to the next topic. If this is the last slide of the class, we'll do questions after this. Don't get super excited. Don't get the first person of the image we showed today. Yes, noted, everyone? After this only, sir, or before your test? Right, so let's move ahead. Kahoot will take hardly 5 or 10 minutes for now. Why should I do it now? So now, if you talk about ring opening, please, Pranav, please drop all your distractions from your head. I know your head is still about distractions. Please drop them apart and listen to what I'm saying. Obviously, you will have bi-weekly test, na, Gauri? You will not have test, kya? 14th October, most likely you have next test. Okay. So, if you take epoxides, understand this carefully. I am taking an unsymmetrical epoxide. Understand this carefully. So, epoxide can undergo a ring opening either by SN1 or SN2 mechanism. So, there are two important concepts. Please pay attention. If I do the ring opening in acidic medium, mein, let us take our nucleophile is, what do you want to take nucleophile? Let us take in acidic medium, our nucleophile is, let's say, RONA. Correct? RO minus is our nucleophile. So, if you take H plus in acidic medium, ring opening in acidic medium, remember, ring opening in acidic medium always follow SN1 mechanism. Ring Arey yaar, I show this slide for so long, still you guys don't take screenshot. Gokul, I waited there for so long, still you didn't take the screenshot. Right. So let's move ahead. If I take in acidic medium, remember in acidic medium, ring opening takes place by SN1 mechanism. That means you'll see stable carbocation. You look for a stable carbocation. So let us see the mechanism. First, oxygen will get protonated. They have lone pair. So you will get oxygen H plus R here, right? Now, if you treat it with RONA, that is RO minus, now either ring can break like this. This carbon will get a positive charge, RO minus will attack here. Or ring can break like this, RO minus will attack this carbon having positive charge. So which side ring will break? Ring will break it from this side. Why this side? Because if you break it from this side, this carbon will get a positive charge, which will be directly bonded to two carbon, so you'll get a secondary carbocation. If you break it like this, you'll get a positive charge on this carbon, which is directly bonded only to one carbon, so you'll get a primary carbocation. So you'll get a more stable carbocation here, therefore ring will break like this, ring will break like this, oxygen gets negative, positive, negative, neutral, this carbon gets positive, RO minus will attack this carbon having positive charge. So RO minus will attack this carbon having positive charge. So that you'll get OH here, neutral OH, and there was already one R here. So OR has attacked, right? Again, you'll get a trans addition product. You'll get trans product. OH and OR will be trans to each other. Is that clear? You have seen the stability of carbocation for writing the major product. Is that clear, everyone? Any doubt in this? Yes, everyone. अरे प्रणव, SN1 में steric hindrance कहाँ से आ गया? Why are you applying steric hindrance in SN1? You apply steric hindrance in SN2, man. I have written boldly here, acidic mechanism, acidic medium, SN1 mechanism, stable carbocation is the major factor. Still you are applying steric hindrance. Matlab, steric hindrance is that athanni, or you can say 1 rupee coin, which anybody will throw like this. Now in the next case is basic medium. Please listen carefully. In basic medium, it follows SN2 mechanism, right? So I am going to take basic medium, that is RONA in basic medium like OH minus. So what will happen here? You have to see steric hindrance is the major factor. So here you have to check steric hindrance. So nucleophile will attack less hindered site. Check steric hindrance. Nucleophile will attack less hindered site, right? Because in basic medium you will get RO minus Chandan, and RO minus will act as a good nucleophile. And you know, good nucleophile may, in good nucleophile your mechanism goes by SN2 mechanism, whereas in acidic medium your RO minus can get protonated to form ROH, and we know ROH is a poor nucleophile, not very good nucleophile. So weak nucleophile favors SN1 mechanism, right? Now, so less hindered site. So if it attacks this carbon, it is having alkyl group and oxygen, so more steric hindrance. If it attacks this carbon, it is having two small hydrogen, whereas this was having hydrogen and alkyl group. So hindrance was less on this carbon. Therefore, RO minus will, this ring will break like this, and RO minus will attack less hindered carbon. So what you'll get? You'll get O minus here. R was already here. So OR has attacked on this carbon. Next step, it will take a proton from the solvent or something and get protonated to give you again trans product, which OR R. You'll again get a trans addition product. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, everyone. Is that clear? When SN1 ring opening will take place, when SN2 ring opening will take place, This is very, very, very important, right? This is very, very, very important. So you will not check the stability of carbanion here, you will check steric hindrance. Now this is not the only way, this is the one part. I'll tell you one more important part in ring opening. Ring opening is a general ring opening mechanism. So the second part here is weak nucleophile. Weak nucleophile like neutral nucleophile mainly neutral nucleophile which donate lone pair favors ring opening by SN1 mechanism. Favors SN1 ring opening like ammonia, water, etc. Whereas strong nucleophile like RO minus, OH minus, right, R minus, all these are strong nucleophile. H minus is also a strong nucleophile. So they will favor ring opening by SN2 mechanism. SN2 ring opening, right? For example, if I take RO CH2, if I treat it with ammonia, ammonia is a weak nucleophile, it will favor SN1 mechanism. You have to check stable carbanion. So I will break this ring like this because this carbanion is going to be secondary. So ammonia will attack here and you will get R, OH and NH2 here, SN1 product. But if you treat it with the RMGX, Grignard reagent. So all of us know Grignard reagent gives R minus, strong nucleophile. So ring will break like this and R minus will attack hindered site in SN2 mechanism. So as you get R, OH and R here. Let us take R dash, right? So remember this, these are very important for ring opening. Any doubt in this? Please quickly ask. Any doubt in this? Please ask quickly. We'll take 2 questions and then we'll move to Kahoot. Yes, is there any doubt in this? Please ask quickly. I'm giving you last 10 seconds. If there is any doubt on this, please ask quickly. Right, so I declare this chapter is over from my end. Right, you can practice as much problems as you want. There are some reactions like Claisen rearrangement and Price rearrangement. We'll most likely do in some of our PSS or advanced class. Okay? Right. So let us move towards question. So you can see you have to identify the reactant which on treatment with HI gives B and C, where B, what about phenyl O phenyl ether, where will bond break with HI? How does it matter? How does it matter? Wherever you want, you break, you'll get the same product. You break wherever you want, you'll get same product. Basavraj, it is symmetrical, no? You'll get same product. Will we study? Yes, we'll study them separately. So A on treatment with HI gives B and C. B gives bromine water test. C does not give iodoform test. Now remember iodoform test yourself and quickly answer this one. Quickly answer this one. So which of the following ethers on reaction with HI gives 2 compounds B and C? One of those 2 compounds gives bromine water test. Other compound gives no iodoform test. This is a very interesting one. Do it quickly. And it is not that interesting also that you spend whole year on this question, right? Right. So you will get another 30 seconds for this question. Let's say 40 seconds for this question. right? So I am going to end this question next 10 seconds. I am going to end this question in next 10 seconds. So please vote fast. Right. So we are ending this on a count of 3, 2, 1. Let's end this now. Yes. So we'll try with all the 3 options. So if you take this, just a minute, let me end this. Yeah. So if you try with this HI, so this will break like this and you'll get cyclohexanol plus CH3I. Correct? Among these two, none of the 2 compounds can give bromine water test because none of them is phenol and none of them is having unsaturation. Correct? Let us check the next one. If you break it like this, this will break like this and you'll get, with HI, you'll get phenol. Phenol can give bromine water test. Phenol can give bromine water test. We all know this. Phenol give bromine water test to give you this product. OH, Br, Br. It can decolorize bromine water. And CH3I will not give iodoform test. It is given only by aldehyde, ketones and alcohols. So no iodoform. Let us check the D option. If you treat it, this bond will break like this. You'll get an alcohol and CH3CH2I. So again, CH3CH2I, no iodoform because it is not alcohol or aldehyde ketone, and this can give bromine water test because there is unsaturation here. It gives bromine water test. That means both B and C are possible. So your correct answer here is D. The correct answer here is D. Please check this carefully. If there is any doubt, please ask quickly. Ravi Kiran, the correct answer is D. Pritesh, the correct answer is D. A and B are not same. Right. So let's move ahead to one of the question here. Again, it's an important question and our last question. Again, it is based on ring opening. Try this yourself. This is the question you will get. Try to solve this. Yes. So you will get, let me give you the poll. Yeah. So you'll get another 50 seconds for this. You'll get another 50 seconds for this. So please vote fast. It's not a tough question if you remember the reactions. Right. So last 25 seconds, please do it fast. Zoom. This does not require Zoom, man. This is big enough. Right. So I'm going to end it on a count of 3, 2, 1. Let us see the answer of this question now. And I'm surprised that many of you have not answered because it's not really a difficult question. It's a NEET level question. It's hardly a NEET level question. Not even JEE Mains. So see, first reaction says if you take CH3 whole twice, CH, CH2OH. If you treat it with PCl5, PCl3 or PBr3, it will give you what? OH will be replaced by Br. We have done this in the reaction of alcohols. CH, CH2Br, you'll get Br. Now you have treated it with Grignard reagent, sorry, Mg. So Rx plus Mg, right, will give you Grignard reagent. So you'll get CH3 whole twice CH, CH2 Mg Br. Now we know RMgX gives R minus, which acts as a nucleophile. So this whole is your R minus. So it will give you CH3 whole twice CH, CH2 minus. Now if you treat it with epoxide, now this epoxide, वैसे R minus should give SN2 ring opening. It's a strong nucleophile. But since your epoxide is symmetrical, from both the sides you have CH2, CH2. So it does not matter which side you are opening the ring. If it was unsymmetrical, then you should have done by SN2 less hindered carbon. So here it will not matter. Just break it and R minus will attack. So you will get CH3 whole twice CH, CH2. Now this CH2 is bonded to this CH2, which is bonded to CH2 having OH. Correct? So when you break this bond, this carbon is bonded to this carbon. So CH2, 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 O minus, which will take H plus to form OH. So this will be your final product. How many times CH2? 3 times CH2. That is the correct answer, D. I don't know how you guys have got C. The correct answer here is D. Those who have answered C are wrong. The correct answer here is D. Is that clear? Why it will be C? How will you get secondary alcohol, man? How will you get secondary alcohol? How is it even possible? Check the mechanism, na? Check the mechanism. You are not going to get C. You would have got C. You would have got C if there was alkyl group here. Then you can get a secondary alcohol. It can never be C. This bond breaks like this. This carbon gets a positive charge. Positive negative bond. So CH2 ke baad CH2. Then CH2. And this carbon is having OH. So CH2OH. How can you get secondary alcohol? Right? So C is if all are wrong. None of them is, this is entirely wrong. This has less carbon. So correct answer is D. Poll results are terrible. Very few of you have voted D. Poll results are terrible. Right. We'll move to our Kahoot session today. Before I move to my Kahoot, let me show something. I'll upload the notes. There are a lot of questions which I have kept here. Some from other reference. Solve them for your practice. Okay? Please solve them for your practice. I will upload them by today. Okay? So there are a lot of questions which you can practice here. Right? Yeah, maybe you guys voted C because it was bold. Chalo, let's move to Kahoot. You can log into Kahoot.it. You can log it to Kahoot.it. That's what I showed here, Athar Beta. There are a lot of questions here. I will upload them. Please solve them whenever you get time. This is what I wanted to show. And I have already shown it. Right? So your game pin is 4992671. 4992671 is your game pin. 4992671 is your game pin. 4992671 is your game pin. So I've started getting people. Chetana, we bi-weekly test, no. Syllabus will be alcohol. Syllabus will be this chapter pura. You'll have this chapter pura. We get every bi-weekly we get one test, na? Every bi-week we get one test. One is unit test, other is full test. So this one will be a unit test. Yes. So Just a minute. Right. So we are about to start. If there is anyone who is still out there, please let me know. Who is this Trevor Phillips? Yes. So we are starting this now. Is there anyone who is still out there? Please raise your hands or something. No one. No one. Chalo. Two people have raised hands. Joston has raised hand. Prasiddhi has stepped in. Anyone else? Chalo. Let's start. So it's on. Yes. So it's something which you hate a lot, history. So it's on World War II. I don't know how many of you really know it, but you have definitely studied it. I know many of you hate history. That's why I've brought it. So on June 6, 1944, also known as D-Day, Allied forces captured which place? Let me tell you, there was one very famous movie on this, which most of you would have seen. On this incident, there was one very famous movie which had come recently. And most of you might have seen this. Most of you might have seen this. Yes. The correct answer, obviously, it's not A. It is Normandy. It is one of the worst battles ever fought in World War II. If you have seen the movie called Dunkirk, history, there was a movie called Dunkirk. It was based on this only. There was mass landings and mass slaughter. As soon as you land, you'll die. That was the situation there. So Normandy was the French island, I guess, if I remember correctly. Let's move to the next one. Oh, surprisingly, Kishore on the top, Pranav on second, Trevor Phillips on third, Ankit on fourth. This is, I don't know who is this, Pritish on fifth. Second one. The RAF prevented a German invasion of Britain. What does RAF mean? Germany was about to bombard the whole London and whole Britain because Germany had Luftwaffe Air Force. Luftwaffe airplanes were very popular at that time. So what was RAF who opposed them? Obviously, you don't get any extra marks for guessing this one. This is so easy. It has to be some Air Force only stopping a Air Force. So it is Royal Air Force. The British Air Force was never named as British Air Force. It was always named as Royal Air Force. British Air Force is always named as Royal Air Force. Let's see the score list. Kishore out of the box. Pritish Patil on top. Pranav second. Trevor Phillips third. Chinmay Kulkarni fourth. This is some J's on fifth. Third question. Which Holocaust camp had the highest death toll? If you guys remember, Hitler had the Holocaust camp or concentration camp for the Jews. So there was one Holocaust camp which was placed in some place which had the highest death toll of the Jews. Which Holocaust camp it was? Which Holocaust camp it was? Where maximum number of Jews died? Oh my God, you guys know this. Surprising. It was Auschwitz. It was Auschwitz. It was Auschwitz. So let's see. Fake Pritish Patil is out. Pranav on top today. Trevor Phillips on second. Pranav is, I guess, having his dream come true today. Chinmay Kulkarni on third. Jesh on fourth. Sakshi on fifth. Pranav's dream is coming true today. Guys, play something well. How did Hitler die? Such a easy question you'll ever get in life. How did Hitler die? How did Hitler die? Such a easy question you'll ever get. Right. So we'll end this now and see what's the correct answer. Obviously, it was suicide. He committed the suicide in the end phase of the war, right? So it was 1945 end, most likely June or July something. So when he committed the suicide. Pranav's dream run is finished. Pranav is back to the bottom. And we have Trevor Phillips, Varsha Shettar. How does Varsha Shettar is there? Vijeta Shettar I can expect. Sakshi, Jess and Chinmay Kulkarni in top 5. Chinmay, what are you doing today? Which country fell under the influence of Soviet Union after World War II? This is a very good one. If you have really followed history, it's a good one. Which country fell under the Soviet Union after World War II? As you guys know, after the World War, there were two groups, NATO groups and Soviet Union groups. So a lot of the Asian and Central Asian countries were part of Soviet Union. Oh, you know this also, that's great. It was Poland. It was done during Warsaw Pact. Warsaw is in Poland basically. Poland also convinced many countries to join Soviet Union. And you should know we are having very good terms with Polish because we had given shelter to Poles or Polish people during the World War. One of the king in India had given it. So there was a lot of scholarships which run for the Indians in Poland. Poland like Indians a lot. You can go out there and enjoy life. Let's see the podium. On the third position, you have Chirag. Surprisingly, Chirag has stepped in top 5. Pranav is back on second. Again, surprising. And first one is Trevor Phillips. Who is this guy, Trevor Phillips? All correct. Advait, again back. Advait and Chinmay were in top 5. So that's all we have, guys. Tomorrow we'll start the next chapter. Don't miss it out. It's the most important chapter for CBSE as well as state syllabus students. For CBSE, it is the most expensive chapter in organic chemistry in CBSE also. So, yeah. Next chapter is aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acids. We'll start it tomorrow. So, we'll start it tomorrow. Right? Well played, Chinmay, today. All right, all of you, it's time up. Take care, all of you. And have a good day. Thank you, Devasiva. Have a good day ahead. B for bye, Preksha. T for take care. Have a good day. Williamson synthesis question slide. Where is Williamson synthesis question? Which question are you asking, Ankita? Yes, Ankita. Which question are you asking? Ankita, we had done Williamson synthesis only recall test today. Which is this one? Yes, Ankita. What's your doubt in this? Yes, Ankita. What's your doubt in this? Ankita is saying, sir, primary halide undergoes SN2. Yes, it undergoes SN2. That's why we have chosen second. That's why we have chosen second. No. Second may you have primary halide. First may you have secondary halide. Secondary halide, the probability of elimination will be more. Rohan, I'll call you on that. Rohan will discuss it over phone. Yes, Ankita, what's your doubt in this? In first, steric hindrance is more so less reactive. Yeah, in first case, you have secondary halide, the probability, and Williamson synthesis is a substitution reaction. In secondary halide probability, I'm not saying Williamson synthesis will not happen in one. It will happen in one also. It is better in second. In one, you have a secondary halide, so there is some probability of elimination also. As you increase the branching, probability of elimination increases. But in second, your halide is primary, so there will be only substitution taking place. Is that clear, Ankita? So here you will have, in second, you have only substitution taking place. Because your halide is primary, no elimination. Rohan, we will discuss it over call. I'll call you. Is that clear, Ankita? Yes. I'm not saying first May Williamson will not happen, it will happen, but there will be some elimination also. Okay? Chalo, take care both of you. Have a good day ahead. Study well, enjoy well, eat well, sleep well, and may God bless you all.